Hello, everyone, and welcome to another CineQuest video Valley Strange crossover. Today, we're going to be talking about the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is a Steven Spielberg movie. Came out in 1977.
There you go.
Um,
You did it.
we all know that Steven Spielberg is no stranger to alien type of films. I mean, he did E.T. as well. He also likes the paranormal. He did Poltergeist. Excuse me. He collabed with director Toby Hooper to create Poltergeist. So, is there any other like type of UFO or
Uh,
paranormal movies he's
there
done?
was Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Was that Spielberg? That's Spielberg and George Lucas, all right.
I think so, or
That was
something.
a little pairing between them.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's I guess that is has a paranormal aspect to it
unholy,
and alien. Oh shit,
unholy
double
pair.
whammy.
Pair. Yes, it's got a lot of whamming.
It's got a lot of whammy. Yeah. We are continuing our discussion on movies that have, or at least UFO related type of films that have some basis in reality. Um, the two episodes prior covered the Mothman prophecies, which covered an event in Point Pleasant. I forgot the state it was in, West Virginia. Um, and we also covered the Travis Walton incident, fire with Fire in the Sky. And we talked a little bit on how much and how little there's a bit of reality in these films. And we're going to do the same with this one. This one isn't necessarily making the claim that it's based on any sort of true events, but it does take some liberties with reality things. So, like, we'll get into it in just a moment. But first, Roland, just introduce yourself in to talk about Close Encounters. Not a big fan of Spielberg, right?
No, not at all. In fact, you might say I am not a fan.
Not a fan of Spielberg. Despises E.T.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's boring crapola. He looks like
don't understand whatsoever.
fresh a duty.
No. Well, I won't say that he doesn't look like a walking turd, but he does.
I was about to
But
say
it's a lovable walking turd.
the lovable shit demon from Dogma.
Yeah, he does become a lovable shit demon, right?
Mm, mm.
But we're gonna get into the synopsis of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Close Encounters of the Third Kind is a 1977 American science fiction film written and directed by Steven Spielberg. It stars Richard Dreyfuss as Roy Neary, an electrician lineman who is investigating a power outage when all of a sudden he has a close encounter with a UFO. And Roy is not alone. There are many others in this small town that have experienced close encounters, including a mother named Jillian whose son gets abducted by these UFOs. Roy begins to have these visions of a structure that seems significant, but he's not exactly sure what it could actually be. Roy's family doesn't understand his obsession with this new structure and what exactly happened to him. Did he see UFOs? Is he crazy? All of this culminating to one epic climactic conclusion, with Roy, the scientist, and the government all meeting with these UFOs in symphonic harmony and this epic Pink Floyd light show. What are your initial thoughts on Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Um, I mean, I have never sat through the whole movie in its entirety. I would always just caught clips, the famous whatever most memorable part being the end, of course.
Yeah, that's like 30 minutes of like spaceship alien stuff, which is personally I loved it because
Yeah.
they for a while there you think like those kinds of payoffs only last like maybe 5-10 minutes,
Mm.
but he kept that shit on for
Oh
a
wow,
long time.
like a damn concert, pretty much. Just which actually would have been pretty cool too. If they just cracked out the popcorn and stuff and just chilling. Yeah, woo! Play
Well,
the algorithm.
yeah, speaking of that little melody there, I was kind of wondering what notes they were, and
Mm-hmm.
course,
G actually
they're
yeah.
kinda like in the do re mi major scale,
Mhm.
thing.
Even they
But
were using real words, right?
now they were using the sign language, which was the little thing that that that
Yeah.
that thing. Um, I did not hit those notes properly, but, it's a nice little interesting effect. I read that those were very arbitrary notes that took a long time to kinda get to, because I mean, those really don't mean anything, but
Right.
that they tried numerous, sequential notes to kinda just
Sure.
figure out what to do with that. And I don't know if you caught that or maybe it was just me, that there was a point whenever, like, they are communicating with the spaceship, the spaceship started playing, like, the Jaws theme. I don't know if you
Mhm.
like, it
Uh,
started going. I think I heard this where it just goes, "Dun, dun," and then it stopped and it went, "Dun, dun." It's, like, towards the end after, like, they're, like, dueling notes at each other, you know? To the
yeah.
almost to the point where it kind of, like, changes the mood of everyone where it sounds a little ominous, because everyone seems, like, kind of, like.
Well, I mean, when it first started, you heard all those, like, that heavy, brass notes or whatever, "Ba, ba, ba,
Yeah.
ba, 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 ba," like, I was like, "Awesome, get to murdering." Of course, nope.
Yeah, it's funny because I've seen this movie in the past, but it's rare that I've sat through the whole thing, at least the unedited version, because I know they would show it, like, on those Sunday matinee kinda things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, that's pretty much when I always caught it too,
Yeah, and you get a very shortened version of this movie.
which is
Um,
probably also for the best.
I don't think so. I actually enjoyed all of it. Um, Again, there's some parts I don't remember because I didn't really sat through it in its entirety, but I thought at some point, like, in the middle, it was gonna drag kinda heavy, but it didn't take that long, the middle section. Um, but, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the movie in its entirety.
Mhm.
It's a 2 hours, 2
Damn.
hours 2 hour almost like a 2 hour, 20-minute movie.
Yeah, like, 135 minutes,
It was
pretty much.
135 minutes.
Yeah, hour 15. 2 hours 15, jeez,
Yeah,
wow.
something like that, yeah.
I know stuff, it's great.
Which,
Mm-mm.
seems somewhat rare for, but at least I don't think so,
For
maybe.
a movie from
Or
the
a
'60s?
a film that's, like, has to deal with, like, aliens and stuff. I mean, I don't, unless it's, like, Independence Day was a movie I'd seen, but, like, movie back in the '70s taking this long,
Yeah, no.
to draw out, and they, like I said, they spent a lot of time on the actual spaceship and the aliens and the people returning. There were,
Mm,
like, little levels that the aliens were kind of, like, revealing to the people, you know? At first, it was just, they sent, like, the fear first fleet to make contact,
right.
and
So
then finally,
scary.
like, through all that, like, everything is, like, flying around, and then they're kinda, like, doing the light show and shit, and then, like, the big mothership shows up, and that takes another few minutes, and
Yeah,
then they're doing the whole light thing again with the music, and then they finally open the
release
hatch,
release the kids.
release the peoples, and then they release the, is it the big long alien, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, so what happens, is I think he's first, and then it's the people, and then it's the little
okay, right, yeah. They let the people out, then they let
but
the
for
little
some
grays
reason,
out.
like, he, like, disappears or something when the people come out or one of
Yeah,
the
because at some point, he's just gone.
Yeah,
It seems like just like a hard cut on that one,
yeah,
because he looks like he can't move very quickly.
no,
So whenever he's, like, kinda
looks
raising his hands and,
like
like,
a really shitty balloon.
"Oh," like, everyone's just kinda, like, in
Like,
shock, you know?
Jesus? I was trying to say it right?
Jesus has lost a lot of weight
He's
since
looking
the whole stuff.
good, he's looking slim. That's what you're trying to say, that's what I'm hearing.
From what I could tell, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, there were, like, 3 types of aliens in this film. So there was the one with the long arms and the long legs,
Mhm.
and there was the little tiny grays,
Uh-huh.
and then there was the other one, the
That's
kind
the
of
one.
normal medium-sized one, well, not so short,
Oh,
nor like, somewhat normal-ish looking alien type. Not too short, not too tall, kinda just right. in the middle with
He's
normal length appendages.
his person.
He's the
person
one that does the he does that last smile to the scientist, and he does a little thing.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay.
He just looked like an old man, a bald old man with no teeth.
He's
Um,
uh, which of course is the most terrifying one of them all.
right, of course, and he's the most evil one. As
So what?
far as I'm sorry, we'll continue with your thoughts of the film, Roland.
Yeah, yeah. So I I mean, I don't hate this film, but it is definitely a lot longer. It could probably stand to be cut quite a bit, particularly when it's talking about family time and stuff. Like with what's his face's family. What's the guy's name?
Roy Neary,
Yeah,
Richard
Roy.
Dreyfuss.
Roy, we spent a lot. I just feel like we spent a lot of time on his personal life, which is just kind of like, bleh, just drags.
I would say yes, they do spend quite a bit of time, but I mean, it's kind of it seems like he's kind of descending into madness kind of thing.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
like
Which
his wife doesn't understand what's happening, because I mean, obviously she wasn't there when he saw the thing,
right,
and
and
I
they
imagine
half his face skin cancer or whatever.
yeah, I don't remember it being that intense, like the half, like it just pretty much burnt all red. I'm surprised he wasn't in pain or anything.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. That shit must have hurt. There's no way.
what what I didn't understand about that whole dynamic with the wife was that she saw his face and he's mentioning that he saw something in the sky or he saw something, not
Uh-huh.
necessarily knowing what it is, but I mean, like, she kinda just wanted him to forget all of it because, of course, it
Yeah,
doesn't work
because
well
she
with
didn't want to have to
families and
think
all that kind of
about it.
stuff, you know?
It's just bullshit or whatever to her. That's like complicated, and they don't need it. I guess.
Mhm.
It sounds like they had problems before the aliens ever showed up. I'll
Well, you
tell you.
would think so, right? Because, I mean, she kinda just she splits, like, after what it seems like a few
Yeah,
days with him.
yeah, yeah. She up and just fucks off. But I mean, really, I'm surprised she didn't do it sooner. I guess because like he's kind of an idiot. He seems very prone to stupid shit. Um, and is also kind of like a big wuss. And she's apparently like seems to be the exact opposite. So I mean,
Yeah, I read somewhere where, um there were some other kind of men that they wanted, like, well, so I'm sorry, Spielberg wanted some other actors that were more manly-ish,
really.
for the part. Well, they looked more manly-ish compared to Richard Dreyfuss. Richard Dreyfuss is like a short
Oh,
dude,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I forgot the name of the person who initially wanted
Steve
to do
McQueen.
it. Was it Steve McQueen? But he
Yeah,
didn't wanna do it because he had to cry, and he said he couldn't cry on film.
yep, yep,
Like, he
yep.
just wasn't able to do it, but
Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, Gene Hackman
yeah.
all turned down the role. Are you for real? Jeez. Jack Nicholson turned it down because of scheduling conflicts.
But I mean,
Ah,
you have to. I feel like the character of Richard Dreyfuss, Roy Neary, he is a bit of a kid. He's a little bit immature. 'Cause I mean,
yeah,
he's
he
like
is
playing with
very
little
immature.
toys.
You don't
He's like, I mean, it's not like it's immature or
think
childish to like do
like
miniatures and stuff like that. But I
no,
mean,
no, it's just like his whole approach to everything. You've when he's at the table with his kids and his wife, and he's like, I know it seems. Was he telling him like, I know it seems strange. I'm still dad, kids, or I'm still me, or something like that.
mhm.
It's just, even that it just sounds so. It's like
But
super
do you think
juvenile.
that's why like they chose him because he had too much of a like a I want to say like a mental innocence about him, somewhat of a childlike nature?
Uh,
Why the aliens chose him at the end?
oh, I couldn't say. I honestly didn't understand what his appeal was. I guess to the aliens,
Well, that's kind of like what I gathered because like he had more of the. It seemed like he had more
bystander. No,
invested uh into this whole scenario because I mean he got on a goddamn spaceship and left his kids behind
Well, yeah,
and his family. Um, and like I said, he seemed more, I guess, receptive to like the whole alien.
yeah. He their images and information he got from them was a bit more intense, I guess. He
Mhm.
makes that damn like really pretty damn goddamn good sculpture in his front living room,
Well,
which
it kind of progresses into like from shaving cream to mashed potatoes to him just throwing dirt in his house. That I would say that is the last straw for someone if they're
yeah,
just breaking
right,
shit through the window,
yeah,
throwing just
random
dirt in the house and living room.
and mud and shit. Oh yeah, that's right. There was the mud poo pile or whatever,
Yeah,
Model 2 in the model room.
yeah. Which
Um,
was Devil's
I forgot the name of the
Devil's
place.
Peak or something like that.
Devil's Tower
Devil's
in
Tower.
Wyoming. Yeah. It is a real place.
Is there any significance to that particular tower that's a reason why they chose that? Is it just because it looks kind of daunting from afar?
Um,
Surprised they didn't like go with some he had to travel all the way to like Peru or something to go to the Nazca lines or something like that.
that would have been cool too.
Close Encounters Part
Doo, doo,
2,
doo.
the Anunnaki Return or some shit.
Anunnaki Rise.
um
I don't see anything though, at least not off of the Wikipedia
right.
about Devil's Tower. Aside from that, that's what they picked. But I mean, the place itself has always sort of had like a supernatural or a edge to it.
Right.
Uh, so so
Well, that's what I'm saying is that like was there a reason why they would have picked that, like especially with Spielberg? Again, it does look
I don't know.
daunting.
I don't know if yeah. So like, I don't know why Spielberg would have picked it, but it was significant to the natives.
Mhm. Oh,
Like,
okay. Well, maybe that's that in that particular tower is where they contacted the gods or something like that. They had to get up high up on the peak. Because I mean, that seems high enough to like, quote unquote, communicate with the gods.
yes,
That's just my initial thought here. I mean, I really don't know for sure.
I forgot pretty much everything
But
about.
that's considered one basis in reality as to why they that place is real, and you can actually go check it out. I assume it's still standing. I mean, it's kind of fucking huge. Um,
Yes, it is.
so I'll give my initial thoughts on the film. I think I've said that I did like this movie a lot. I'm pretty partial to any kind of alien type of
When
movie.
did you first see this movie?
Probably on a Sunday matinee where they're selling sighting. Like Channel 4, Channel 5.
Channel 4 for
Um,
me, probably.
it's probably Channel 4. They
Probably
were
that.
always like again, it was always the matinee. It was like either like Commando or Predator or Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Um, I don't recall too many other movies that come to mind. It could have been
Oh,
Bloodsport
Indiana
for all
Jones.
I know. Maybe they did Indiana Jones. I'm not too sure.
They usually have Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Um, so I didn't really see this movie in its entirety like till later on.
Hmm.
But again, it's a movie I do like a lot. It's probably one of my top alien type of films, and more so because they kind of focus a lot of time on um the alien aspect. Like they don't just kind of brush over quickly. We do have those last like 30 minutes or so that's dedicated to literally them trying to communicate with aliens and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think the reason it fascinates me more is because of the implications of how they kind of came to do that. Because in my mind, I've always thought that it was based in some sort of reality because you've read about certain things where presidents have. I think it was Truman or someone. I always forget which president met with the Greys, and they made that whole treaty where they could abduct people, and they had to return them. So
Oh,
that's kind of like where that whole aspect comes to mind whenever I see that part because not only am I just seeing them return these people, but I'm also thinking in the back of my head that they knew that they were taking people, you know.
yeah.
They didn't know who necessarily because they had a whole line of people ready to go for the ride, you know. But then they just picked Richard Dreyfuss's character because I mean they were giving them all the little prayers beforehand. They were on those weird ass red jumpsuits.
Yep.
They look like a cult. It could have been like a Heaven's Gate cult going up into the alien, which is probably something.
Cult
I wonder if like those
followers.
these types of films were like influential to those particular cults, the UFO cults. They think like did they ever see these and think like that's really it's gonna be, like they're gonna come down with a light show and they're gonna pick us all up and then we're gonna go into some.
I mean, isn't that what everybody thinks
You would hope,
is going to happen?
but it's really gonna be like Independence Day. They're just gonna come, plant
Yeah,
their
blow us all the
plant
hell.
themselves around the world, and then just blow us the fuck up.
That's exactly what I was waiting for the whole time in this movie. It's like, all right, and it ends with them dying, right? Right?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, it's a good one.
And then
Uh,
yeah, exactly.
I know Spielberg seems to have a perspective on like extraterrestrials as being peaceful and friendly. Um,
Cool.
that may be the case for some, but of course, we've read up on like
But of
different
course,
types of races that
we live
have
in
different
you and
motives.
I, Ray, live in the real world, so
Yeah, the world,
I are
alien world, where they're gonna kill us all.
knowledgeable, yes, on such things. We're definitely going to get murdered.
But yeah, so just back, I did like the movie. I still like it a lot. I
Yeah.
watched it twice, and I didn't get tired of it at all. So that's also a good sign that I can
Wow.
that I enjoy. Yeah, I saw it twice.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
To me, it's kind of like watching a space odyssey. It's just there,
That's
and it never ends.
not even close at all.
Ray, do I detect a twinge of outrage in your tone? Just
Well, I mean, they're two
like,
different types of films by extremely different types of directors. It's not
uh-huh.
fucking Kubrick, man. This is Spielberg. He's here to put on a show. Spiel
Oh, I don't know.
Spielberg is a
I don't
spectacle
know.
kind of guy, It's just like let's just watch it. We're gonna have a good time.
Uh-huh.
We might leave like joyous, happy, except of course for the Crystal Skull. Um, most
Which gets
Steven
everybody just
Spielberg,
laughing.
unless it's so excuse me, in Schindler's List too. I don't know who left joyous and happy after that fucking movie. Um,
Assholes. Red flag.
Probably.
For
I think he
anybody
also
that
did Saving Private Ryan, right? He did that one as well.
I
I think so.
don't think so.
But anyways, when it comes to aliens, Spielberg has like a very like it seems like an explorative type of
Who did Abyss?
way of I don't know who did Abyss. I think it's James Cameron.
Yes, you're
There
right.
you go.
There
And
it
as we can see, James Cameron also has that movie ended on a hopeful note as well. I mean, that's
is.
also one of my top 5 like alien type of films. Of course, they're not
Oh, yeah.
UFOs, they're I guess underwater unidentified objects or something.
That fly through the air into space?
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, they live like deep under like the ocean, like near like I guess the
Yeah, right.
Mariana Trench and shit like that.
Right, but like they're underwater spaceships, no?
Right. I mean, they can come out of the water, but I don't know. There's we're never like told from any of these films where any of these things are coming from, Because I mean, there was a moment in this film when like it's at the end when they're at the Devil's Tower, and when the ships are coming out. Maybe it was just me the way I saw it and the way it kind of like it seems like they were almost like interdimensional because there was one that comes out like from the black of night and then it kind of just emerges. Maybe
I
was
think
that
that's
just like
just
shitty special effects, or
yeah,
was it intentional?
I think that's shitty special effects, dude.
Shitty special effects,
I know what
or
you're talking about
they
too,
were
and I
intentionally trying to like imply that they're interdimensional beings.
know, right, that Spielberg is trying to show a physical object folding through time and space.
Well, I mean, because technically, wouldn't that be the
Technically,
case?
oh shit,
Wouldn't that be the case because those Air Force guys came back and they didn't age a bit? They're kind of just those could have been minutes for them from the time that they disappeared.
they folded from another dimension where time moves differently,
Yes, absolutely.
place of sight and sound.
Um, yeah, of course.
Of course,
Let's talk about the beginnings. There's some background things going on with this movie. It initially opens up with these scientists finding these, I guess, Air Force fighter jets
yeah.
planes from like 1940s, just after World War One or World War
Mhm.
Two. I'm sorry. Excuse me. There is an account of when those particular planes, not like I don't know if there was that many, but there was
They went
planes that
missing.
went missing.
Right,
I think it was over the Bermuda Triangle and stuff like that. So
right.
that's kind of like a bit of basis in reality where those were never recovered.
Mhm.
So the movie used that as a way to kind of introduce this phenomenon that's happening because, of course, the pilots do get returned at the end. In reality, they did not. So,
Yep, yep. Which would have sucked, right? You get back and they're just old as balls. Shit.
well, if they're still young, technically, like, how would they
What?
adapt?
They're not. They're only. I mean, how would they adapt? I don't know. Uh, maybe food stamps.
Well, they would technically still have the skills of
Pay
they
the
could still well,
bills.
they would yeah, they have the skills to pay the bills, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Well, they're still part of the military, wouldn't they? Wouldn't the like you think the military would not just
Maybe
embrace them again and they could kind of use them as, like,
you would
consultants?
think you're so you have such a positive outlook, Ray.
That's what this movie does for me. It gives me a positive outlook on the whole alien
You're like they'll be
phenomenon.
fine. Their families will remember them. They'll take them right back in. It's
You
not
know,
like
the
all
no, no,
get as
the
old as
families would be dead.
yeah.
Whole families would be dead. Have you seen the movie Forever Young with Mel Gibson? When he
No,
gets, like, frozen
fuck
and
no,
then, like, he's reawakened by a child, Elijah Wood,
no.
and, basically, he starts aging pretty quickly.
Uh
Like
huh. And
yeah,
then
I
it
mean,
ends.
huh?
Sounds like a great movie. And then it ends with him just
Well,
aging yet.
it's like a
Yep.
PG movie just like this one, you know?
Um,
Um,
I guess. I mean, I saw a version of that like with Jack and Robin Williams, right?
well, that is like a natural occurrence where he ages back
Rapidly.
yeah, rapidly,
Oh,
yeah.
you're thinking of
I'm thinking of,
a Benjamin a Button.
Benjamin Button, yeah, the reversal thing.
You
Uh,
assist.
huh?
You sissy.
Oh, please, man. You're the one invoking Benjamin Button.
I know it's how bad it is. I have to correct you.
Yeah.
This is humiliating, Ray. You should feel embarrassed for yourself. I do.
What was that other incident in the film? There's a boat that they also find in the desert. What was the name of the boat? It was the SS
Oh,
Cotopaxi. I think that's what it's called, or that's how it's pronounced.
uh,
But
um,
that one was also, let me see, that one also went missing as well, but was recovered later on. It says there was a final voyage on the 29th November 1925. The Cotopaxi departed Charleston for Havana under Captain W.J. Meyer with the cargo of coal and a crew of 32. And on December, Cotopaxi radioed a distress call reporting that the ship was listing and taking on water during a tropical storm. The ship was officially listed as overdue on 31st of December.
right, and then kaploof, Gobi Desert.
Right. Yeah. And then, of course, it ends up there. Um, it's very odd. I wonder if like he just like picked some random like missing uh things that went on that were never recovered, so you can kind of use that in the film as like some
Or
kind of
maybe he just made it up. Yeah, maybe
Well,
that
yeah,
would.
it is made up. They were never
Oh
found in
well,
the desert.
no,
Pilots never returned. Um, they
of course
the the airplanes were never just randomly. They didn't just show up randomly in some place like
it was all
fully
pattern.
gassed up and still in working order. Like no, that's fake as shit. Um, what else? Oh, there is a cameo by Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who was one of the scientists who oversaw those government. I would say oversaw, but he was like a consultant, I think, um,
Uh-huh.
in Project Grudge, Project Sign, Project Blue Book. He was the scientific advisor to the UFO studies undertaken by the U.S. Air Force during the three separate projects. And I know in the movie whenever Richard Dreyfuss and like all those other people go towards Devil's Tower, they try to tell them that there's like nerve gas around, so they
Mm-hmm.
gotta put on like masks and shit like that. And it's dangerous for them to be there. It turns out it was false,
Right.
very government like to lie about what's going on.
No.
But they had a whole setup there waiting for the aliens. So like I just kind of curious like how long they knew that. Was it in that particular universe is Project Blue Book and all them Dr. J. Allen Hynek still the scientific advisor is why he shows up or he's there whenever they make contact. Because it is Dr. J. Allen Hynek who classified these
Right.
alien encounters. There's, of course, the first kind, which is I think you see lights in the sky. The second, I don't remember. Let me see here. Close encounter. So, a close encounter of the first kind is visual sightings of an unidentified flying object, seemingly less than 500 or 150 meters away, that show an appreciable angular extension and considerable detail. So, I mean, you can kind of tell what it is, but not really.
Like an outline,
Yeah.
maybe of sorts.
And then close encounters of the second kind. Well, it says it's a UFO event in which a physical effect is alleged. This can be interference in the functioning of a vehicle, electronic device, animals reacting, physiological effects such as paralysis or heat and discomfort in the witness, or some physical trace like impressions in the ground, scorched or otherwise affected vegetation, or a chemical trace. Um, and I kind of they kind of explore those first two in the very beginning of the movie. Those
Sure.
particular, and then of course we go into the third kind. Do you have that information, Roland?
No, I don't.
Yeah, well, close encounters of the third kind are UFO encounters in which an animated entity is present, and these include humanoids, robots, and humans who seem to be occupants or pilots of a UFO.
Mm-hmm.
So you come into contact with an alien entity, which they do. And then we have close encounters of the fourth kind, um, in which a human is abducted. And in this case, Roy does
Scoop them up.
experience the fourth kind because he is abducted by the aliens in a very peaceful, loving way.
They lovingly burned his face.
It says that this type was not included in Hynek's original Close Encounters scale.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we have the fifth kind, which is a UFO event claiming direct communication between aliens and humans. I think it means the human race, not necessarily individuals. Because I
Right.
mean, if we're
Contact.
going um, back between the other ones, the other films that we talked about, the Mothman technically has aliens in it, and there's loss of time, so that's technically the fourth kind, an encounter. And then we have
It's a lot of
Travis,
technicals.
the Travis Walton, which is technically another fourth kind encounter.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Wheatley Strieber, who did also experience a fourth kind encounter. I guess you can kind of say, I mean, to what extent that he's experiencing the fifth kind, because I know like he's still kind of in contact with or communicating or did
Something.
at some point. because I know he has books on that stuff. So I mean, I don't know for sure because I haven't read those in particular. Um,
Damn, Ray, deep cuts.
deep cuts, my man. Um, well, again, this is a CineQuest Valley Strange crossover, so we talk about the movie a little bit. The movie, there's not much depth to the movie as to exactly what it is.
No,
We have the scientists who are
it's all very superficial.
finding these objects or vehicles that have disappeared and have returned after many years, and there's no explanation for it unless they go to like India, and that other gentleman who's sitting in front of the store mentions that they got all this, they heard noises and songs they were sung to, and they all came from the sky. um I was wondering how long those scientists knew all this was like there was actually aliens in
Yeah,
communication, because I mean
we're very about it,
they don't seem to
concerned or worried or
yeah, I mean
on
like
edge.
I mean,
They
they're
were
just
all
putting some
very
things together,
relaxed,
like
or rather, I
um,
should say, like they were just at work. I'm not gonna say
unless like the events, the constant events that are going on are a way that the extraterrestrials are letting them know that they're gonna make actual contact with them. You know what I mean? Like certain events start happening, and then like there might be some kind of level of communication.
Are you speaking of the prophecies, Ray?
Probably, probably.
I have no fucking idea. Um,
Oh, and again, with the Roy is just has this experience. He's
Roy,
inundated with these visions of
the
this
Messiah.
tower, and he has to find it. And then they make their way to the tower. They make contact with aliens. He gets abducted. That's literally what the movie is in a nutshell. Like that could be like a.
And then his life goes to shit, and then he meets
I
them again.
want to see what happened to Roy.
Then
No,
it's over. Yeah, exactly.
does Roy stay young
He
or
gets
like the same age when he gets returned? Does he get returned?
maybe,
What do
maybe
you think would happen to Roy if he gets returned? Like, let's just say now he's still the same age. His kids are obviously older. His wife's probably dead because she like, where did Roy go? Oh my god! And then
probably me remarried immediately and
yeah,
with a
right.
girl.
Well, I mean, he was kind of going with that girl who lost her son or got her son.
Yeah, that was another thing too. That was really just all of a sudden, and then kind of forgotten. I guess I don't know. I was really
Well, I think they like this is how I'm rationalizing it. They experienced a major event in their lives, and
big
they're the
old
only ones who kind of understand.
boners.
They're the only ones that can understand what
Or
happened or
those
what they saw.
experienced, yeah,
I mean, he almost killed her kid. He almost
yeah,
ran over the fucker while they were all like just staring into the sky and stuff like that. So,
could have happened.
would you have preferred the child die?
I mean, it would have been funny.
That would have like taken the movie in a different turn entirely.
Yes.
You see, in this case,
No,
I'm glad
no, Ray.
I'm glad
That's
the kid didn't get hurt in this one. See, in Halloween Ends, I'm glad the
Steven
kid kind of
Spielberg.
deserved it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That kid. And also like Melvin in Tremors, that kid was a dick, you know.
Yeah, but he should have died, but he didn't.
Yeah, I know he came back for the sequels. It's the worst. He survived. So you watched this movie a lot over the years, or
Not
rather,
not
like
not
bits and
often.
pieces of
I
it.
mean, I probably watch it maybe every 2 years,
Not one
and
of
that's
your
just kind of like
favorites. It's just one of those. It is a film that you appreciate,
yeah,
kind of thing.
any kind of alien type of movie I do appreciate. Like,
Sure.
I enjoy most films that have some sort of extraterrestrial angle to them.
Hmm.
There's John Carpenter's The Thing.
Well, that's a very sharp
Um,
angle, and yes, very
right. I mean, Aliens. Uh, also like a very the anything that has to do with like the unknown that has kind of elements of Lovecraftian
Debbie Does Dallas.
stuff. Yeah, the Lovecraftian version where that's
Right.
tentacles and stuff like that. Debbie does how do you pronounce this shit?
Oh, really? Oh,
Rillah,
really? Really?
Rillier, yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Tulu does Dallas? Dallas does Tulu.
Yeah,
Eh,
I mean, I feel that, like, the Travis Walton Mothman, uh I'm sorry, like, Fire in the Sky and the Mothman Prophecies have a bit more angles because there's more people involved, I think,
well, yeah, it just
and it's kind of confusing as to who
there's more of
or
a
what.
backstory to that, I guess.
Yeah, and then, of course, you have the Travis Walton, incident where it's not just Travis Walton experiencing this abduction, but also the people on Earth who don't know what happened to him. So there's that angle between the town's folk and like his friends, uh,
Mm.
where they think they killed him, you know. And then of course we explore the abduction later on in the film. This is primarily a person or a few people who've experienced uh, some kind of extraterrestrial contact or close encounter, and they are compelled to find out what really is going on, and then they do, and that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much like I don't know. I didn't care for that ending, but it was amusing to see just okay, yep, that's a wrap. Aliens.
There
Got it.
is apparently another
Different ending.
a, an ending where they actually explore the inside of the ship.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it part of the budget?
I don't know. I just know that there's
The
there's three versions out there apparently. There's the
uh
original version,
the
the actual version.
1980 special edition, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think there's a director's cut.
Mothership, and then yeah, the director's cut or collector's edition
Mhm.
omits that interior scene.
Yeah. So that'd be kinda cool to, check out. See, I would want a copy of that.
They actually made a laser disc. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, as far as special effects roll in, like, what do you think about this movie? Like,
So that was what always got me. That I enjoyed about this movie. I loved the look of the aliens, the lights, the ship. Um, it because it just seems so. I guess well, like the whole theme of this movie is just sort of opposite to what I'm used to. As far as extraterrestrial movies, where there's always some element of like just terror or despair, and this one it was just like pretty much just the exact opposite. Everything was very light, and even though it's like it's at night when they meet, when they interact with this ship, it just seems very, you know, nice and wholesome. I don't know, it kind of annoys me, but that is it's cool. It's actually a cool part of this whole movie, that whole sense of just everything looks cool. Of wonder that you get from watching the aliens sort of float around and
mhm,
all these lights, and you're. I think I remember seeing it and thinking that like it reminded me of this little toy called like Simon Says. I think that had just all the blinking lights and stuff. Pretty much,
yeah.
it was like cool. You know how to play. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I did appreciate the fact that there were, like, different types of shapes of ships.
Yeah, a lot.
They didn't all just have, like, the same basic, cylindrical, disc type of look to them. You know, they all had, like, one of them looked like a cone, one of
Mhm.
them was shaped one was just like a ball of light, the other one was like they all had their own, like, various
Supposedly,
unique
one of the
kinda
designers
look to
on
them.
the bottom of the mothership, they put a little like uh the body of our an R2D2 model.
Yeah, I read about that, yeah.
That's funny. Cool.
Well, I know this movie didn't, Star Wars come out '77 as well?
Yeah.
Apparently, from, again, what I've read, I don't know how truthful it is, that
Mhm.
Steven Spielberg bet against his own movie saying, like, Star Wars was gonna be the bigger movie, which it was, very much
Yeah.
so. But at least he knows, I mean, I think they were like trying to get this movie off the ground for a long time,
Okay,
and because he made Jaws first, and that was such a huge hit, that kind
that's
of gave
great.
him
Some breathing
license to
space.
kind of just do whatever he wanted, and then that's what came up from this movie.
Even though this movie apparently was a success, right? I mean, they made a
It is, yeah, yeah,
shitload of money.
but it wasn't as big as fucking Star Wars that came out the same year. So,
No, no.
um, so yeah, there's not much to this film. It's very simplistic, but that kind of is what's going on with well, that kind of like is the way Spielberg kind of approaches his films. It seems, at least unless you're like Schindler's List or some shit like that. Um, they're pretty
Man, you keep
straightforward.
going back to that for some reason.
Which one?
One
Schindler's List?
exception, Schindler's List is
Well, because I mean, it's very
yeah,
like at that point when he came out with that film. I mean, you're used to the type of Spielberg type of movie, you know. It's very just blockbustery.
yeah, exactly.
There's not. You have to have special effects. You have to have like action, all that kind of stuff.
Well, there are effects in this movie.
Yes, but I
And
mean,
that one too.
what effects you get in Schindler's List? Like
Well,
it's black and white. There's a girl in a red jacket somewhere and it's
I
floating
guess that's
around.
practical effects.
But anyways, I enjoy this movie a lot.
Yeah,
And again, we did touch on some of the realistic aspects of this movie. Again, Dr. J. Allen Hynek was a advisor for the movie. So I'm kind
yeah,
of curious as to what how much knowledge did that fucker know? Because I know at some point, whenever was contributing to those particular projects, Project Blue Book, Grudge, Sign,
yeah,
um, they kind of, I believe the government just told him to kind of say something, certain things regarding what the
right.
objects in the sky were.
Hmm.
And then he kind of retracted a lot of that. So I
Yeah.
don't know how much information he knows and how much information is truthful that he advised on
Well,
this particular movie. It's why I'm always I was curious about this film and wanted to talk about it a little bit
so
because what aspects are actually true? Like,
yeah.
was there an actual meeting between these aliens and actual government officials, scientists?
Um,
They
I,
say there is, but who knows?
you probably read this, but it did mention in some of the records that the Air Force and NASA refused to cooperate with Spielberg for making this movie. And in
Yeah.
fact, they told him that he probably shouldn't. It's a bad idea. And
Mhm.
so that was when apparently he was like, and that's how I knew I needed to do this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're telling you not to, you know, I kind of wish that I don't know at what level of celebrity or how much pull Dan Aykroyd had at the time because I feel like they should have collaborated on something like this. You know,
Sure, that would have been fucking awesome. I mean, it still could be, maybe.
maybe.
I don't know what Dan Aykroyd's doing in his retirement, but hope he
Yeah,
keeps.
because I mean, it's always that last bit of the film that I'm always curious as to how truthful this really is. Because, yeah, it's nice for a film to like the humans to come into contact with the aliens, but did
Yeah,
that really happen?
right.
Is there actual government records in the past that are overtly like top secret that are never gonna get exposed to the public?
Where's Bigfoot? Yeah.
Well, fuck Bigfoot at this point, right?
How
Yeah, he hasn't made.
dare you, Ray? Can't believe what I'm hearing.
I mean, it would be badass if Bigfoot was an interdimensional being or even a shape-shifting alien himself. That
Mhm.
would be fucking cool, you know. But I
Otherwise,
mean,
fuck 'em. Yeah.
huh?
Otherwise, fuck 'em.
Yeah, man, come on, he's just a big old thing out in the woods.
Hairy bitch gets beat up by a brush or a comb.
I will
That's
tell you this: it's the amount of times that I feel I've been burned when it comes to people talking about Bigfoot
Oh,
or claiming something about the Bigfoot. At some point or another, I'm completely skeptical when it comes to Bigfoot.
you
I
mean
don't
like
believe it at all.
all 6 of our favorite, Animal Planet Bigfoot shows to watch?
Yeah,
Bigfoot hunters, big
yeah.
Sasquatch hunters, snatch
Every
hunters.
time they're like, we're hunting Bigfoot, and it's just an empty ass show that I wasted
You wanna
30 minutes
some
on.
squatching? Some squatching?
Yeah, fuck that.
Yes.
I'd rather enjoy the movie The Sasquatch Gang, wherever they go and fake a Bigfoot, just so like they can get some like fool to come down to make a show about it. You know, that's I don't know, man. Or Harry and the Hendersons.
Ooh,
That's a good one to me. All right.
cuts.
Harry and the Hendersons still gives me the emotional heebie-jeebies whenever they have to let him go into the
Mm,
woods.
it's
And what's
kind.
the guy's name?
Oh, you're talking about
John Lithgow.
yeah.
When he like, I think he like punches him because he wants him to go back into the woods so he could save his life. And then like Bigfoot gives him that sad ass look. He's like, "Don't you say we don't want you anymore?" And he's like starting to cry, and he's like, "Stop it! I'm gonna fucking start crying." Um,
All right,
um,
so what's your rating for this heap of of time and
um,
culture and wonderment?
I give Close Encounters of the Third Kind an 8 out of 10.
God damn it.
And the 2 points is merely for like the length. It's a little bit too long. I imagine it should get cut up a little bit, but I still enjoy it. But
Words I never hear Ray say.
I like Richard Dreyfuss as his character.
Yeah.
I like Richard Dreyfuss in general,
Oh,
generally
okay.
speaking. I like him as an actor. Even though I don't really see him in too many movies. I mean, he is in Jaws. He is in this film. He was in another Spielberg movie, American Graffiti. That has nothing to do with like aliens or anything like that. That's where I saw like Harrison Ford for this first time, and also like Ron Howard comes out. Um, it's like an old like 50s type of teen
Mm-hmm.
movie, which is pretty good. I like it a lot. Um, but yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. I will continue to watch it, and I wait for my is it the collector's edition or the director's cut with the alternate ending?
The Steelbook.
The steelbook, yeah.
Pounce on that.
If I mean, I probably that ship has probably sailed already and bypassed already the steelbook, but
Mhm.
whatever. What about you, Roland? What's your rating?
Well, Ray, to the surprise of no one, I did not quite endear myself to this movie like you did, quite like you did.
Again, because you don't like Spielberg very much,
No, I
and
don't.
you don't even like his beloved E.T.
Jurassic Park was cool. The book.
The book.
Ooh. Suck it, nerds.
Did you like Jurassic Park the movie?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, well,
check
there's
I
one
like that
Spielberg
in
movie then.
theaters. It was great.
Yeah,
I'm giving this a 4 out of 10.
I don't know how much I believe you on that one. Man.
Now you don't be stuffy. Don't be stuffy.
No, because I'm wondering how much you're taking away from the family aspect, the wholesome alien
That
encounter.
has a lot to do with it. I did not
You just
around
need
at
alien
all.
destruction, right?
Yes. I need I need action at all times. Yeah, fine. All right, Ray. You know what? I'll give it a pity 5. How's that?
That seems right up your alley. Yeah, I would say that.
I'll give it a pity
A
5.
pity.
It's not a worse movie by any means, but it's definitely not one of my not worst movies. Yeah.
You know, at the end of this, Roland, we should probably do like another list. Our top 10 alien movies.
Sure.
I'm already gonna pick one of your top fives, not the one. I'm gonna say like Independence Day is in that
Sure.
top five right there.
All right. Yeah.
And as it should, it merits that. It's a great movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Easy.
I
Easy.
think a lot of it has to do with like how do you like your aliens? Do you like them a peaceful race, or you want them to be a violent, destructive race?
And sexy.
Mm.
Always important.
You're like a Mars 3 titty kind of guy.
And give me a little bit of that species.
Oh, Natasha something, right? Where
Some
she's like
sort
that shape-shifting alien creature.
right, that, like, just has to bang everything in sight.
I'm gonna guess, if I can, just
Murder
guess another one of your top fives. Men in Black.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I like that one a lot. Check that one also in theaters. Not the sequels. Those were
No.
a doggy do.
So I can safely say that you don't just like violent aliens. You need them to be like somewhat funny also.
Sure. Gotta be styling.
Right.
Have some zazz. Some zoosh.
We're gonna
Mhm.
be bringing this episode to a close. But before we do, we want to thank our Patreon
Thanks, buddy.
person who contributed to our Patreon, which is I guess the second person in history to have done it. And we very much appreciate it. Samia Canis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, but I just want to say thank you for contributing to our Patreon.
Yeah.
We very much appreciate it,
Yep.
and that'll help us with beer money.
Beer.
Any other sort of expenses in the MoQuest podcast network?
Yep.
Um,
There are many.
there are many expenses. Um, there's a gallon of gas for sure in there. So
Oh, yeah. At least almost 2, maybe. Almost.
me too. Yeah, come on, Biden. Come
Yeah.
through for us.
Biden and the gas with the gas. Yeah.
Stop playing around and making it go higher. Like since
Yeah,
you
like
have
we all
control of
know
all the
you
gas
want
and stuff.
to. Exactly. You control the gas. Everybody knows you control the gas, you control the world. Duh.
Yeah, just like Biden. God damn. Um, so thank you very much for your Patreon contributions. If you want to contribute, you can go to patreon.com/MoQuest Studios and contribute at any tier level. You will see our full reactions whenever we do reaction videos. And for the tier higher or the tier above that, you can see exclusive videos that we have done specifically for Patreon. And there are quite a few. There's a couple hours in there worth of
At this
entertainment.
point, hooray. Yeah. Yep.
Again, if you don't want to do that, you can also purchase some merch at moquestmerch.com, or you can just do the simplistic thing, and which helps greatly, just as much as any of those other things, is to like, subscribe, and share these episodes with your friends and family, your UFO enthusiasts in your circle there,
Your friends.
your acquaintances.
Right.
Speaking of that, we will be doing a reaction to the movie Mac and Me at some point coming up soon.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Have you seen Mac and Me, Roland? I have not seen it at all, other than the clip that Paul Rudd keeps taking to Conan O'Brien, or
Yeah,
did
that's
would take to
all
Conan
I've
O'Brien. That's the only clip I know from Mac and Me.
Yep, me too. And it is the best.
From my
Yeah.
understanding, it is a McDonald's funded movie,
Something like that.
something
I
like
think.
that. I don't know.
I have to look.
That's pretty crazy. So,
It's a McDonald's reject, that's for sure. I'm sure it'll
thank
burn.
you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking this video, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.